Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my WWE All Talk video. I'm slowly but surely catching up on WWE programming. In this video, I'll be doing my reviews for WWE Monday Night Raw, December 24th, 2018, which was the Christmas Eve edition, up until WWE Main Event, December 26th, 2018. And then I'm just gonna watch all the shows, and then after each show, I'll review it and combine them all into a big video. So now that I've talked about this stuff, let's get right into the video um, right now. Okay, so starting off with the Christmas Eve edition of Monday Night Raw, which took place on December 24th, 2018, because every Christmas Eve takes place on December 24th. Started with the WWE.com exclusives. Throughout the show, various superstars were saying their Christmas wishes since this was a Christmas themed episode of Raw. So it showed just a one big WWE.com video of the Wyatt Squad, Zack Ryder, and Mojo Rawley saying their Christmas wishes. And the Wyatt Squad's Christmas wish is just to wreak more havoc on Raw, which, if they want to do more, they didn't really do a very good job of that in 2018, so they need to do a lot more. Zack Ryder for himself to get more opportunities, and Mojo Rawley just to cause devastation. So there's that. I thought Zack Ryder's was awesome, but the Wyatt Squad and Mojo Rawley's I could care less about. Then we had the actual show itself. We had Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Renee Young on commentary for this show, and we had the opening video package. And I do have to say though that this Raw was recorded the same night as the night after TLC, um, because they didn't want to do a live show on Christmas Eve because they probably wanted to give the wrestlers a week off, so they just taped two shows at once, which I got to give credit to everybody that worked two shows, especially, even though I won't give this guy any credit, Baron Corbin, because he worked two matches in one show. I think, and the Revival, um, and as well as there was somebody else that worked, and Natalia, because she wrestled an hour and then had to go back out again and wrestle, so I got to give her mad props. But it showed an opening video package, kind of giving us a taste of what was going to come to on Raw, and doing like a cheesy Christmas poem about it, which I thought was kind of nice, but it was a little bit cheesy. And then we had a Miracle on 34th. Miracle on 34th Street fight, Elias versus Bobby Lashley with Leo Rush ringside. Before the match starts, Elias performs a concert where he thinks it's very fitting that he's kicking off the Christmas Eve edition of Monday Night Raw, and he says that WWE stands for Walk with Elias. He performs a song about Bobby Lashley, and the first lyric in the song was that kids ask for too much, which was kind of weird. Or that kids are annoying on Christmas, which was kind of weird because he's supposed to be a babyface, but everyone still loved it. He even talked about how Lashley sucks, and he says that and he starts singing about that. And I actually thought for once he was going to get through a performance without getting interrupted, but that's not what happened. Um, Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush interrupt him, and they proceed to have the match. Bobby Lashley uses his power to dominate Elias throughout the beginning of the matchup. He goes to hit him with a plate, but Elias throws a Christmas tree in his face because it was a holiday themed match, and he throws him into the steps. He opens up a present, revealing it to be a what do they call those things? The candies that they give out on Christmas. Not a candy corn. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but the candy that is white and red. I don't know why I can't think of it, um, but it's a red and white kendo stick, and Leo Rush whips it out of his hands. Lashley goes to attack him. Elias drop toe holds him onto the steps, and then Lashley gains control of the match. And he tries to have Leo Rush go off the top and hit a final hour onto Elias, but Elias gets the knees up. But Lashley still remains in control. He body slams Elias onto um, a stack of Christmas presents, and he puts him in the ring, covers him. Elias kicks out. Elias starts to no, then Leo Rush gives Bobby Lashley a Christmas gift, and it's revealed to be in it to be Legos, which was, I guess kind of a surprise. And Bobby Lashley dumps him out. He goes to superplex Elias onto the Legos, but then Elias pushes him off, and Lashley goes into the Legos. So it was kind of like a thumbtack bump, except it was Legos. But it wouldn't feel good anyways to go to Legos. But obviously, I would prefer the thumbtacks. And then Elias sprays Lashley in the eyes with a fire extinguisher. He hits him in the ribs with a fire extinguisher, and he sprays him again. And Lashley goes into Leo Rush, and he goes through the table that had Christmas stuff on it. And then Elias uses a bowling ball right into Bobby Lashley's nuts, and then he hits him in the back with a chalice. I don't know if that's called a chalice, but it was like a violin for the win. And I was all right with Elias going over here because I actually like Elias more, and I think he benefits more from winning than Bobby Lashley would. And then afterwards, he shoves a cookie into Leo Rush's mouth and dubs eggnog on him, and then that was that. This was an entertaining match, though. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I thought easily it's probably the best Miracle on 34th Street fight ever. And then we have Heath Slater's Christmas wish, which his Christmas wish is for Rhino to come back, so that kind of gets utilized later on in the show. Then we had a Raw Tag Team Championship match. Raw Tag Team Champions Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus the Revival. I thought they had a really good, tag team title match here. Roode and Gable get the advantage early on in the matchup, but then eventually the Revival hang up Gable onto the top rope, and the Revival dominate Chad Gable for a while. I like this, the double team tag team moves that the Revival were hitting on him. Then Bobby Roode gets the hot tag, and Roode and Gable go for the moonsault neckbreaker combination, I believe, on Dash, but Dawson knocks him off the apron, and Dawson lays out Gable, and they exchange near falls, which I thought was nice, and eventually Roode tackles Dash out of the win, and Gable rolls up Dawson and gets the victory, and Roode and Gable retain the Raw Tag Team titles. However, because of the chaos, Roode and Gable didn't pin the right member of the Revival, so they're probably going to continue this, and it's going to lead to a rematch, which I'd be alright with because I think these are the two best tag teams on Raw. So I think it makes sense for them to be in the title contention. I hope it leads to the Revival getting the Raw Tag Team titles, and if they would probably only get a short run, but I at least wanted to get some type of a run with the Raw Tag Team titles. So, yeah. I actually really like this. I like this tag team match a lot. I thought it was really good. Then the B-Teens backstage performing Christmas carols, and they try to give Apollo Crews a free t-shirt, but he doesn't want it. The Lucha House Party reveals their Christmas wishes. It was just a bunch of comedy stuff. Kurt Hawkins revealed his Christmas wishes. This one was funny. He mentions a ton of things that he wants, but then the camera guy points out his T-shirt and he says, "Well, I guess what Santa Claus can give me is a win in 2019." So I thought that was funny. No Way Jose's wish is that he wants Santa to give him a sleigh and stuff, so that way he can bring the Conner line to him. It shows another vignette of superstars that are on their way. Superstars such as Lars Sullivan, Lacey Evans, Heavy Machinery, Nikki Cross, EC3, and I think I'm missing somebody. No, because that's the 6 superstars, because one of them is a tag team. And I talked about this already, so I'm not really going to go into detail about it, but I want to just make sure I mention it. Then Dolph Ziggler cuts a promo talking about how he had a great 2018, and his Christmas wishes is for Shane McMahon to give him back the Best in the World trophy, and to be a champion and the top guy in 2019. He's going to prove that by winning the triple threat match. And then we had a vignette hyping up the return of Kevin Owens, which I can't wait to see him come back. Then we had a triple threat match. It was Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler. Before the match, Drew McIntyre gets interviewed, and he talks about how he's going to cause chaos into 2019, and says that if Balor and Ziggler work together against him, he'll just overcome them. But if they somehow um, get the upper hand on him, their egos will cause so much that he'll slip in and take advantage. So then we had the match. I thought they had a good triple threat match. McIntyre gets starts dominating right away, but then Balor and Ziggler work together to take him out, and then they start fighting each other, and then eventually McIntyre throws Balor into the barricade, hits a tilt-a-whirl slam on the apron on the Ziggler, and he dominates. He kind of takes turns dominating each of the guys, and then eventually Dolph Ziggler um, takes out Drew McIntyre. Balor goes for the coup de grace on Matt McIntyre, but he moves out of the way, and Ziggler hits a zigzag on him, and Balor kicks out. But then he hits the Famouser on him, but Balor kicks out of that. And then Ziggler goes for the super kick on McIntyre, but he hits the Gallus kick on him, and Balor hits a sling blade on him, and Balor actually hit a coup de grace on McIntyre, which was really cool. And then he drop kicks Ziggler into the corner, hits a coup de grace on him, and pins Dolph Ziggler to get the win, which I think is a good thing for Finn Balor. I do hear that there's reports that Balor's due for a big push. I hope this is a good start into that. I hope he actually does get a big push, but obviously it's wait and see type of thing. And then afterwards, McIntyre goes to attack Ziggler because he said that he's ruining his career, and Ziggler lays him out with a zigzag, which I didn't really like that Ziggler laid him out, but I guess it's going to be a case. Well, I'll get into that, but I liked what they did with the triple threat stuff, but I didn't really like the way McIntyre looked on the show. And then the B-Team's backstage again, and Bo Dallas forgets like one of the lyrics that they use, so that he gets mad and tips over a Christmas tree, and they have to start over. It was really stupid. And then we had McMahon's Claus, where it was Vince McMahon dressed up as Santa Claus, and he makes a few big announcements. He announces that John Cena's coming back, which he's already been back this week, but he's going to be back on the next episodes of Raw and SmackDown, which I'm not really that excited about. I don't really care to see Cena back. I talked about that at my WWE Super Showdown review, so yeah, I could care less to see John Cena. He did announce that there's going to be Women's Tag Team Championships, so this is the first time that the WWE itself has actually acknowledged them. They didn't really mention it, but Vince McMahon did say that they're going to bring in Women's Tag Team titles, so I expect by WrestleMania 35 we're going to have the first Women's Tag Team Champions crowned. And he also announced a steel cage match between Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. So this is why I'm fine with Ziggler, I guess, standing tall, because McIntyre is probably going to beat him in the cage match, but whatever. I thought it was fine. It set some things up. Then we had a 6-woman tag team match. Mickie James, Dana Brooke, and Alicia Fox versus Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Ember Moon. Didn't care about this match. They get the heat for a while on Ember Moon, and then eventually Bayley and Sasha Banks win when they hit the backstabber on, I think, Alicia Fox, and Bayley hit the belly to belly on her for the win. I don't remember if that was exactly how it went down, but I don't really care enough to go back and look at it. And then afterwards, the Wyatt Squad attacked them, and that was that. And then Paul Heyman celebrates Christmas. I thought this was kind of funny because he's Jewish and he celebrates Hanukkah, but they're having him come out there and do a bunch of Christmas references, and that's pretty much what happens. He does Silent Night, but changes the lyrics up and kind of utilizes it to talk about how Brock Lesnar is going to conquer Braun Strowman at the Royal Rumble, and he uses a bunch of Christmas references to kind of talk about that as well. But then Braun Strowman actually comes out and he puts he dresses up Paul Heyman like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and says that he's going to pretty much says that his arm will be fully healed at the Royal Rumble, and at the Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar is going to get these hands, and that was that. So I like this. This sets up the Universal title match, and it was something simple. And I don't know if I'm excited to see that match or not, because the past 2 matches between Lesnar and Strowman have been underwhelming, with the match at No Mercy in 2017, and then the match that they just recently had at Crown Jewel. But I actually think this time they'll actually be able to have a really good match, because this time they don't have booking getting in the way at Crown Jewel, and I actually think they're going to actually be able to deliver a quality Universal title match. But what kind of sucks about this is it's going to be a lose-lose situation. I would put the belt on Strowman, but I don't think they're gonna put the belt on Strowman. I think they're just gonna have Lesnar walk into Mania as Universal Champion, but so which kind of sucks, but whatever. And then Natalia gets interviewed, and she talks about how she's excited to be wrestling for the Raw Women's title, and she said that she's gonna do whatever it takes to win the title. And then Alexa Bliss gives her Christmas wishes, and she said that she's so perfect she doesn't need any more Christmas gifts. So she wants to give the rest of the Raw Women's locker room Christmas gift. She wants to give Sasha Banks and Bayley more personality, and Ronda Rousey better makeup. And she tried to say Natalia, but she said there's nothing they can do for Natalia. And then Tyler Breeze reveals his Christmas wish, and he wants to he wishes that Fandango, a speedy recovery. And he also wants Ariana Grande tickets, but he can only have one thing, and he chooses the tickets. It was kind of funny. And then we had the Raw Women's Championship match, Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey versus Natalia. I actually thought this was a really good Raw Women's title match. And I really enjoyed it. I liked the storyline they were trying to tell. Pretty much they were trying to tell the storyline that Ronda Rousey was holding back because she didn't want to hurt her friend, Natalia. And she was kind of, playing it safe. She did some nice chain. They both started exchanging some nice chain wrestling holds. Rousey went for the armbar, but Natalia countered it, and she tried to go for a triangle choke, but Natalia countered that. Ronda Rousey kicks Natalia out of the ring when she tries to go for the sharpshooter, and then Natalia dominates the matchup for a bit. She hits a ton of suplexes on Ronda Rousey, a discus clothesline, a power bomb, but then eventually, and she gets him into the abdominal stretch, and then eventually Ronda Rousey makes a comeback, and is urgent for Natalia to stay down because she doesn't want to hurt her. But then eventually Natalia gets into the sharpshooter, and Ronda Rousey turns it into the armbar, and Natalia ends up tapping out immediately for the win. And Ronda Rousey feels sorry about this. They hug and embrace and show respect for each other, and pretty much that was that. I enjoyed this, though. I liked the storyline they were telling with this match, and I really enjoyed it. And obviously, they had to kind of change plans a little bit because they originally wanted to do this match, with Natalia as a heel, either at TLC or in the main event of WrestleMania 35. But because of real life events that took place with Natalia, they kind of changed things up. But I actually kind of like that they did a match based on respect. I think it makes sense because Ronda Rousey, there's really no other good point to do this match because Ronda Rousey is going to have other things going on. So I kind of like the way they did this. Then Dean Ambrose is backstage, and he says that, that Seth Rollins isn't going to get anything that he wants for Christmas, and he wants to bring ruin upon Seth Rollins' life, and says that it's going to look really bad if he loses to Baron Corbin on the show. Then we had a vignette for Sami Zayn hyping up his return. We had Heath Slater versus Jinder Mahal with the Sin Brothers ringside. Didn't really care much for this match. Jinder Mahal's dominating, and Santa Claus is in the crowd, who we find out is disguised as Rhino because he has been recently kayfabe fired. And Heath Slater tries to use this distraction to get the win, but the Sin Brothers attack him, and Santa Claus gets in the ring, and they clean house, and we find out that it is Rhino because he takes off the beard, and he hits a goal on Jinder Mahal, and Beauty and the Man Beast stand tall. So I expect they're going to continue this storyline throughout the next few weeks. So yeah, really didn't care much for this. I was just kind of there. Then the B team just finally gives out because they have just too much Christmas spirit. That was really stupid. And then Seth Rollins gets interviewed, and he talks about how tonight's an important victory for him, and he wants to take out Baron Corbin so that way he can get back to Dean Ambrose and get back his Intercontinental Championship. Then Apollo Crews reveals his Christmas wish, and that's that he wants a tank so that way he can tip it over like other wrestlers have and do a mold sort off the tank. And the Ascension reveal their Christmas wish, which is to bring devastation upon Raw. And Victor does a funny line where he asks if we're doing Secret Santa, and Connor says that he would only be his Secret Santa since there's only two of them. So he's like, oh, the truth comes out. It was really stupid. And then Kurt Angle reveals his Christmas wish. He said that he already had it by preventing Baron Corbin from becoming the permanent general manager of Monday Night Raw. Then we had the main event of Raw. It was Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. I thought they had a solid main event here. Seth Rollins dominates the matchup early. He goes for the stomp, but Baron Corbin rolls out of the ring and he hits a suicide dive on him instead on the outside. And then Corbin gets the advantage for a while, and then Rollins makes a comeback. He goes for the stomp again, but then Baron Corbin turns it into the deep six, but Rollins kicks out of it. He goes for the end of days. Rollins reverses that, and he hits the roll up into the kick to head into the stomp for the win. And that was pretty much the end of the show. Actually, it wasn't pretty much the end of the show. It was the end of the show, and that was pretty much that. And that was pretty much the Christmas Eve edition of Monday Night Raw. I thought it was a good show. I really didn't have a lot of expectations going into this show because I don't think they expected to really have a lot of views, and this was really kind of a non-canon show, I think, because um, it was a Christmas edition of Raw. But I still thought it was good. I enjoyed the triple threat match. I enjoyed the Raw Tag Team title match, and I enjoyed um, the Miracle on 34th Street fight, and I enjoyed the main event. I thought it was fine. And yeah, that was basically it. And I thought the show flowed fine. So yeah, it was a good show. I'm just gonna be generous and give it a B minus because, like I said, I don't think they really put a lot of effort into the show because I don't think they expected a lot of people to tune into the show since it was Christmas Eve, and it was just kind of like a carefree type of show. I don't think the New Year's Eve edition of Raw is gonna be the same way, considering the fact that no, I think the New Year's Eve edition of Raw will be the same way, considering the fact that they had the same type of problems. But I'll address that when I get there. But now let's review SmackDown. Okay, so now on to the Christmas edition of SmackDown, which aired on December 25th, 2018, because everybody knows that's the day of Christmas. We had Corey Graves, Tom Phillips, and Byron Saxon on commentary for this show, and it opened up with Truthy Claus and Carmelfa coming out to cut a promo. Now, obviously, you can tell by the names it was R-Truth dressed up as Santa Claus and Carmella dressed up like an elf, and they were doing some holiday-themed promos talking about um, Christmas. They did a funny bit though where Truthy Claus was saying all the names of the reindeer and he completely fucked them up, which was funny. And then the new Daniel Bryan comes out and he says that he could deal with having to spend Christmas away from his family, but he's not going to deal with this because he's going to expose Santa Claus. And he uses his eco Nazi um, you know, to do that by talking about how people who want gifts from Santa is helping, with overconsumption. And he says that eventually there will be no North Pole because the glaciers are going to melt and the sea level is going to drop. And um, R-Truth tells him that he better watch out because he's number 30 in the Royal Rumble, at the Royal Rumble. Well, I'm just going to say this year since it's 2019 already. And he could end up winning the Rumble. And if he's the champion of WrestleMania, he could be um, going after him for the championship. And then the new Daniel Bryan says that R-Truth probably can't even count to 30. So then R-Truth starts counting, and they go to do a dance break. And during the dance break, which they also did a Christmas Carol break too, which was kind of funny. But during the dance break, the new Daniel Bryan attacks R-Truth, takes out his leg, beats the crap out of him, puts him in the heel hook, and then he stomps his face in and puts him back in the heel hook, and the new Daniel Bryan looks strong. I thought this was a really good segment. I thought the new Daniel Bryan did great out here, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And then we had Andrade Cien Almas with Selena Vega inside versus Mustafa Ali. I thought they had a good match here. Almas immediately hits a drop kick on Mustafa Ali and dominates him throughout the beginning, but Ali tries to get some offense in. But eventually, Zelina Vega comes in and runs a distraction, and Almas shoves Ali off the apron or off the top turnbuckle, and he continues to dominate Ali. But Ali starts to take control, and eventually he hits the Tornado DDT into the 054 for the win. And Mustafa Ali went over, which made sense since he just pinned the WWE Champion on the previous episode of SmackDown. But I feel bad for Almas, man, because he's pretty much been called up and they've really done nothing with him. While he comes out there and has like really good matches, They really should have just let him stay in NXT because I think that just would have benefited him a lot better. But I thought this was a good match here. And then Samoa Joe's backstage, and he says that tonight he's going to meet Jeff Hardy in the ring, and he's going to cause him to fade away, and he's going to choke out Jeff Hardy and his demons. I kind of wish when he said fade away, he said that he would classify himself as obsolete, but I still thought it was a good promo. Then we had an 8-man tag team match. It was the Usos, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson versus The Ball, Killian Dane, and Alexander Wolf with Eric Young inside. And the New Day were inside doing commentary for this match, which I like that they do that, but I really wish that the New Day could just commentate the whole match instead of switching back and forth. And during the match, Big E was out there greasing himself, which I thought was funny. But the heels get the heat on one of the Usos for a while, and then Luke Gallows gets the hot tag and starts taking out Alexander Wolf. I do want to mention that during the heat, Alexander Wolf did hit a nice standing moonsault onto one of the Usos. I thought that was nice. And then the match breaks down into chaos. The Bar hit an assisted white noise onto Anderson, but it gets broken up. And then eventually, after a bunch of dives and stuff, Gallows and Anderson hit the Magic Killer on Cesaro for the win, and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and the Usos win. I like the fact that Gallows and Anderson got the pin because it shows that they could possibly be placed for a SmackDown Championship opportunity, which is kind of where I hope it will lead. Yes, we've seen the Bar versus Gallows and Anderson before, but it would be a fresh matchup because we really haven't seen Gallows and Anderson really all that much on television, so I hope that's the direction they go in. And then Mustafa Ali's backstage, and he gets congratulated by the Brian Kendrick, Akira Tozawa, and Cedric Alexander, which I like to that they brought Cedric Alexander in since they've been like best friends on 205 Live. And then Shelton Benjamin properly welcomes him to SmackDown. And then the new Daniel Bryan ambushes Mustafa Ali, beats the crap out of him. The 205 Live boss is trying to pull Daniel Bryan off of him, but then eventually the new Daniel Bryan hits a running big boot on him, and then that was pretty much the end of the attack. I like this, though. I'm assuming that's going to lead to a future match between the new Daniel Bryan and Mustafa Ali, so I like this. Then we had Miz TV with Shane McMahon. I actually hated the segment at first, but then they won me over at the end. So the Miz has Shane McMahon talk about what the new era is going to mean for the WWE, and it leads to the Miz asking Shane McMahon to be his tag team partner because he's proven that he can team up with anybody. And then it gets serious because the Miz said that he's doing this to make his father proud of him because he's accomplished everything that there is to accomplish in the WWE, but my dad's never told me that I'm proud of me. And I liked this because it was very real, because that's very realistic, because George Mazanin really has never told Mike Mazanin that he's proud of him. So I like that they brought up some real life, aspects to this. And then he says that when my dad saw you win the Best in the World trophy, he started to become a huge Shane McMahon fan and wanted him and Mike to be a tag team. And he wants to do this for his father. So then Shane McMahon accepts, and they raise their hands. And I think the Miz turned face because afterwards, this was a very face-like promo. He has the crowd offer support. I think the Miz has officially turned face. Now, obviously, this week I'm going to say it's good. I really hope that they can continue this momentum because I'm won over with this. I want to see where they go with this, and I don't know if they'll win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I kind of would like, to see that happen. Because I really don't want them to do a thing now where The Miz does turn on him and then they do a match at WrestleMania. Run with this. Give this a chance and see what happens with this. So I actually like this segment. And then Rusev and Lana are backstage. And they're excited because not only is today Christmas Day, it's also Rusev's birthday. And he's going to utilize, his birthday momentum to win the United States Championship and make this Rusev Day. Then we had Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy. I thought they had a good match here. So Jeff Hardy dominates early, and then Samoa Joe takes over. And eventually Hardy makes a comeback. He hits a twist of fate on Joe. He goes for the swanton. Joe rolls out of the ring. Hardy hits a drop kick on him. And then Hardy beats the crap out of Joe on the outside, so the referee stops the match, which I guess Joe won by DQ, which doesn't make any sense. It's, Jeff Hardy winning the match by kicking too much ass. I don't like that type of finish. And then he throws Joe over the announcer's table, but then Joe from out of nowhere puts him in the cookie in a clutch. So I didn't really care much for this. I didn't like that they did this type of finish, but I did like that Joe stood tall at the end and they continue in this feud. And then Shinsuke Nakamura is backstage, and he talks about how Rusev is just a total diva now. He's not the same Rusev that he once was, and says he's going to retain this U.S. Championship against him. Then the Usos are backstage, and Jimmy Uso runs into Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and they're underneath the mistletoe, so Mandy Rose wants Jimmy Uso to kiss her, and Naomi runs up and threatens to get into a fight with them, and Jimmy Uso says that he wasn't going to do that. This segment was very bad. It was very holiday cheesy type of bad. Then we had the main event. It was a United States Championship match. United States Champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev with Lana ringside. I thought this was a really good United States Championship match. If I was giving it a star rating, I would give it 3 3/4. It was really good. It wasn't like a great match or this awesome match like the crowd was chanting, but I thought it was good. Rusev uses his power moves early, but Nakamura tries to put him in a triangle choke, so Rusev rolls out of the ring to kind of recompose himself, which was very weird because he's the babyface in this situation. That's not normally something that would happen. So Nakamura gets the advantage in the matchup, and he dominates Rusev for a long-ass time. Rusev mounts a comeback, and, when he goes to the accolade, Nakamura rolls out of the ring. Rusev throws Nakamura into the barricade, and then when he goes to put Nakamura in the ring, Nakamura counters with a kick to the head. Nakamura throws Rusev into the steps, and then he puts him in the ring, goes for the Kinshasa. Rusev hits a Machka kick on him, covers him. Nakamura kicks out, and then Nakamura gets Rusev into the triangle choke. Rusev reverses it. Nakamura hits a running knee to the head. Rusev kicks out of that. And then Rusev hits the Machka kick and actually gets the win and becomes the brand new United States champion, which I'm very happy about because Nakamura was doing jack shit with that championship. And I think, I like Nakamura, but I like Rusev a lot more than Nakamura. So I'm very happy about this. I mean, I kind of find it funny because, Rusev really hasn't been pushed all that much. And winning the U.S. title I thought was awesome, so I really enjoyed that. And that wasn't the end of the show, though. At the end of the show, AJ Styles is backstage, and he runs into Vince McMahon, and he asks what Vince McMahon wants, and Vince McMahon asks him what his name is. At first, I was thinking, are they really going to go with the storyline where Vince McMahon doesn't know AJ Styles? And AJ Styles says his name, he says his accolade, he says that this is SmackDown, the house that AJ Styles built, and Vince McMahon doesn't believe him because while you've been walking around backstage, the new Daniel Bryan's been wreaking havoc on SmackDown, and you've done nothing about it. And he says that he wants to know who the real AJ Styles is, because whether AJ Styles wants to admit it or not, they're a lot alike, because they both have black holes. And he wants to expose that at AJ Styles. He wants to get that demon out of AJ Styles. And he slaps him in the face, and then AJ Styles punches him, and like a different type of AJ Styles comes out, and Jamie Noble and stuff come out and pull AJ Styles off of him, and they ask Vince McMahon, he's okay, yeah, and he's like, yeah, I'm okay. And Vince McMahon kind of does that like evil smile, like AJ Styles did what he wanted him to do, and that was pretty much the end of SmackDown. I really liked the ending though. I thought that was awesome. I don't know what it's leading to with AJ Styles, but I thought that was really cool. But I thought SmackDown, I thought it was a good show. I think it's probably one of the weaker SmackDowns, but I thought it was a good show. I really enjoyed the U.S. title match. I enjoyed the 8-man tag, Almost versus Mustafa Ali. I thought the new Daniel Bryan was really good on this show. Nothing I really hated on the show, but it was still it wasn't like one of the best. I think because SmackDown's usually really good every week. This kind of was. I was expecting this to be a little better, but I really kind of shouldn't have because it was a Christmas edition. But I did think this was a good show, so I will give SmackDown a B-. If you were to ask which one I enjoyed more, I probably will say SmackDown though, because I just thought it flowed a little bit better. But that's pretty much that. Now I'm gonna watch 205 Live, and then give you guys my review of that. Alright, so now on to 205 Live for December 26, 2018. It was hosted by Nigel McGuinness, Vic Joseph, and Percy Watson. And this pretty much was a look of 2018's best moments of 205 Live, and I was fine with them doing this type of show. I think too because they taped SmackDown the same night. They taped SmackDown. They say the same two SmackDown, so they probably couldn't do like another 205 Live. So I was alright with them doing this type of show. And it was nice to look at the, you know, um, some of the moments again in 2018 for the Cruiserweight division because I think 205 Live had a great year. So I thought that was awesome. It shows, um, it doesn't start obviously right at the beginning of the year, but it shows from when Drake Maverick became the 205 Live general manager, which was January 30th, up until like about now. It showed the Cruiserweight Championship tournament that aired earlier this year to crown a new Cruiserweight champion, which was won by Cedric Alexander at WrestleMania 34. He did a promo afterwards, and he said that it was one of the biggest moments of his career. No, he said it was the biggest moment of his career, and no one's going to take that away from him, but it hurt him a lot more to lose the championship. And he said that he's going to fight as hard as he can to become a two-time Cruiserweight champion. And then some superstars on 205 Live gave their New Year's resolutions. Um, Hideo Itami said that he's going to make people respect him or he's going to hurt them. Akira Tozawa said that he's going to fire Drake Maverick. TJP wants to get Drake Maverick fired. The Canellises want to bring the power of love, want to use the power of love to bring ruin to 205 Live. Noam Dar wants to have a stable relationship instead of dating Alicia Fox. And I think that was really the only New Year's resolutions. I might have forgotten one. And then it's sort of vignette for the Lucha House Party. Kalisto talked about how he's the best high flyer. Lindsay Dorado says he's a hybrid, and Grand Metalik says he's the best cruiserweight in the world. Then it showed the build-up in the actual match at WWE Super Showdown between Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander for the Cruiserweight Championship, and then Buddy Murphy did a promo talking about how he fully expected to win the Cruiserweight Championship at Super Showdown, and he said that he's going to hold the championship so long that he's going to have to retire with the championship. And then it showed the top 10 moments in 205 Live. So I'll start off by going through that. Number 10 was Up for Grabs. This is when Tony Nese did that powerbomb to Leo Rush right on everybody. A Strong first impression. This was when Roderick Strong competed on 205 Live and beat Hideo Itami in a first round match in the Cruiserweight Championship, and that was like his first match in 205 Live. The Power of Love. This is when the Canellises debuted on 205 Live, and Mike Kanellis laid out Lindsay Dorado. And then we have Up and Over. Trying to remember what that one was. I don't remember what Up and Over was. I don't remember. Trying to see if I can. Oh, yeah. I don't know what that one was. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Because I think I'm just gonna look that one up real quick because I don't remember what that one was. Just give me a second. I know I didn't really expect that I would have to do this pod. Because I'm gonna forget if I don't say what it is. I feel like too. Once I see it, I'll feel stupid. Because I kind of know around the area it is. Oh, now I remember what it is. Up and Over was when Cedric Alexander did that suplex from in the ring to outside the ring on Drew Gulak. I just had to look at that up real quick. I know I should redo this video, but whatever. Then the Scottish Supernova returns. This is when Noam Dar returned and squashed TJP in a match. The Man of the Hour arrives. This is when Leo Rush debuted. When in doubt, just senton everybody. This is when Akira Tozawa hit that senton on Kalisto, Buddy Murphy, and TJP. The Mask Collector. This is when the various segments when TJP unmasked the Lucha House Party. And a powerful point. This is when Drew Gulak did that powerful presentation where he revealed that they were going to kick out the Brian Kendrick, and Kendrick and Gallagher beat the crap out of him. And then we have the 054. This is when Mustafa Ali did the 450 through the table onto Hideo Itami in the Falls Count Anywhere match. And then Drew Gulak invades the show and pretty much puts himself over using a video package talking about how, he's been the best cruiserweight on the roster because he's used his ground game to be the best instead of doing anything high-flying and flashy. It was actually really awesome. Definitely give that a watch. And then it shows Buddy Murphy's first opponent. It shows the build to Survivor Series and the Cruiserweight Championship match between Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy at Survivor Series. And then Mustafa Ali does a promo, and he talks about how he's been very fortunate with the opportunities that 205 Live has given him, and how he's been the heart of 205 Live, and even though he's moving on to SmackDown to have his run there, his heart will always be 205 Live, and maybe someday he'll come back to 205 Live. So I don't know if he will or not. Probably depends on how he does on SmackDown, but I thought it was a very good promo. And then Drake Maverick does a promo and talks about how he was very excited about the success of 205 Live in 2018. And then he announces some stuff for 2019. He announces that at the Royal Rumble, Buddy Murphy is going to defend the Cruiserweight Championship in a Fatal 4-Way match, so he can prove that he is the best cruiser in the world. And throughout the next couple of episodes of 205 Live, we're going to have 3 qualifying matches where the winners will get into that Fatal 4-Way match at the Royal Rumble. He announces on the next episode it's going to be Kalisto versus Leo Rush, which I'm looking forward to that match, and Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. And then in 2 episodes from now, it's going to be Cedric Alexander versus Hideo Itami. If I had to guess who's going to win these matches, I'm going to guess Gulak's going to beat Tozawa. Cedric Alexander is going to beat Hideo Itami. And it really could go either way with Kalisto and Leo Rush. As much as I would love to see Leo Rush win that match, I think they're going to end up giving it to Kalisto, so that way they can do a face-face, heel-heel dynamic. But I really hope they end up giving it to Leo Rush, because I really like Leo Rush. I think he's awesome, but I think they're going to end up giving it to Kalisto. But that's pretty much this episode of 205 Live. I thought this was a good episode. I'm not going to say this was a really good episode, because it was more looking at the past, but I thought it was a nice little trip down memory lane, so I'm going to give this episode a B-. And yeah, overall, I got to say, 205 Live, I thought they had a great year, and let's see how 2019 looks for 205 Live. And that's that. Now I'm going to watch Main Event and give you guys my review of that. Okay, so apparently Main Event's just a holiday special hosted by Scott Stanford, so I'm not wasting my time on that. So, yeah, that's Main Event. And that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell, so that way every time I upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. I'm really excited because I only have 1 more week of WWE main roster stuff to watch, and then I'll be fully caught up on that stuff. So hopefully I will have that video out probably over the weekend. But make sure you guys also subscribe and click on the bell for the CM Brothers and All the Talking 80 YouTube channels. And that's been much it, guys. Talk to you later.